1984, Orange County, California welcomed a special visitor. The President of the United States made a swing through his home state of California to officially kick off his general election campaign, a mere 2 months before Election Day. Notice that I said 2 months, not the endless campaigns we have now. But it was during that trip, during Ronald Reagan's big triumphant California rally, that he uttered the phrase that became emblematic of the conservative OC ever since.
Like I've always said, Orange County, that's where the good Republicans go before they die.
California conservatives did not have much, but at least they had Orange County. Indeed, dating back to the Goldwater era, Orange County remained a Republican stronghold inside an increasingly deep blue state. That is, until last month, when all 7 congressional districts in Orange County went blue for the first time since the 1930s. This year, not only did ruby red Orange County turn blue, but Democrats kept control of the governorship, every state office, and both houses of the state legislature by a mile. In January, San Francisco Congresswoman and former first woman Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, will once again be handed the gavel. Democrats are not just winning nearly all the elections in California. California Democrats have become the tip of the spear for the resistance against Donald Trump and his administration. Right now, California has 44 active lawsuits pending against the Trump administration on everything from the Affordable Care Act to protections for dreamers to environmental regulations. California's governor-elect Gavin Newsom has been outspoken in his criticism of the president, calling Trump's latest threat to shut down the border between the U.S. and Mexico, quote, irresponsible, irrational, and absurd. California has positioned itself to be even more of a power player in the years to come. And now they've taken it one step further. California has moved up its presidential primary. Lately, voters in California have held their primary elections in June. They're one of the last states to vote in a presidential primary, leaving Cali voters often to feel like an afterthought. Well, not anymore. California has now officially moved their primary up by 3 months to March 3rd, which means Californians will begin early voting at the same time that other traditionally early states like Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina will also be voting. Now, this is a huge deal for California. It means that presidential candidates will have to decide whether they want to try to compete in California earlier than usual to get the support of California's huge delegation. But it also means candidates are going to have to make some hard choices. Campaigning in California is expensive. It could cost at least $5 million for a candidate to compete there, a number that might exclude a number of candidates who can't afford it and might stretch the resources of candidates who are also trying to get an early win in one of the crucial early states. It also means that having name recognition in California can go a very long way in terms of presidential ambitions. And for the first time, one of the most racially diverse states in the country and one of the largest will have outsized impact on who gets the Democratic nomination. California is about to make its mark on one of the most anticipated presidential elections in recent history. So, what does that mean for 2020 and for the Democratic Party? For that, we turn to Jason Johnson, political editor at The Root and professor of politics and journalism at Morgan State University. Hey, Jason.
Glad to be here.
Good to see you. Okay, so let's start going through California. So California, first of all, I think for a lot of people who've been annoyed that Iowa and New Hampshire have so much power,
right.
Now you have a state, it's majority minority, 37% white. Asian Americans are 15.2%. African Americans are 6.5%. Native American and Alaska are 1.6%. So it's a very diverse state.
Right.
So in that sense, how does that change the dynamic for that primary?
Well, what it does is it makes you, as a candidate, if you're running in 2020, the 50 million people who are going to be running, they have an opportunity to demonstrate, hey, look, I can connect with these different kinds of people very early on. They don't have to necessarily just say, I've got to show it in Nevada, I've got to show it in South Carolina. They can say, hey, look, you know, I can speak to Latinos, I can speak to Central Americans, I can speak to immigrants. So it's an opportunity for you to really show what you've got early on. Mm-hmm. The problem is it's really expensive.
Yeah, if you have any money.
Yeah, if you have any money to do so. And the other issue is that the money will dry up faster. Now that California is part of Super Tuesday, if you don't win one of those first 3 states, the spigot is over, and you can't go to Hollywood.
It could literally be over by March 3rd. Can we just put up the primary calendar? This is March 3rd. This is Super Tuesday. You have to compete in Alabama, okay, California, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, and Virginia. Just Texas and California is about a third of the delegates.
Exactly.
If you can't play in the two big states, you're done.
Not only are you done, but this is a horrible move by the Democratic Party. I think the DNC President Perez should have said something about this. I know states all want to be important, and I know that California being pushed to June usually wasn't a good idea. But what it's going to do is it's going to curtail what should be a long-fought process.
Right.
You don't want to have the Democratic nominee by March. You want this to be a long, competitive competition. So I think Californians, they want to have influence on who ends up getting the job, but that influence may come too soon, and that's not going to be beneficial to anybody.
It's all good until you get a John Edwards and he's the nominee, and then he implodes. Okay, let's talk about who this helps. Because obviously it helps Kamala Harris, who's had issues. I sensed that this clemency for a death row inmate whose case has been very contested, that Jerry Brown just signed that new DNA order, that's helpful to her, right? The things she needs help on that criminal justice sort of situation, right?
She does.
But now this is a state where she has name ID. As long as the current governor doesn't run, this helps her, right?
It does help her,
but
it's not an automatic, right? I mean, Marco Rubio doesn't win Florida, so just because you're
Marco Rubio's a little different.
Right, he's a little different. He's not as popular as she is. But you aren't guaranteed to win your state, and really what's going to happen is the winner of California, the winner of most of Super Tuesday, is going to be the person who's won one of the first 4 states. If Kamala Harris doesn't win Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina or Nevada, she won't win California.
That's right.
The whole purpose,
because you can't raise money.
She won't be able to raise money. So I think this puts more pressure on her because she can't sit there and say, you know what, I can backload this. She's going to have to do well really early.
And by the way, California's where you raise the money, too. I got to say one name that raised a lot of money in 2 states, California and Texas, Beto.
Yes, he did.
That's where he raised his money. Jason Johnson, politics editor. That's not a prediction. That's just a fact. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Appreciate it. All right, it's still ahead.